using crack and cocaine to get high.
So for all intents and purposes, do know that I am not talking about anything more than the SNES version of this game. I get there's a Game Boy version, and I'm gonna touch on the fact that this game is really just an Americanized version of Panel de Pon, but we're also not talking about Panel de Pon very much in this video. Playing Tetris Attack is probably the most profound natural high you can get out of an arcade-like puzzle game on the Super Nintendo. This, I swear. Less than it does elicit any sort of real high, it puts me personally into this sort of flow state. The basic yet addicting mechanics of Match 3 puzzlers are undeniable, but it's the beautiful presentation and outright whimsical nature of Tetris Attack that make it a personal favorite. I think it's safe to say Intelligent Systems has done a lot of the heavy lifting here as the core developers of Tetris Attack, not only because of the fundamentally solid design, but majorly because of the shared DNA this game has with one Panel de Pon, not to be confused with Puyo Puyo, a Japan-exclusive puzzle game that is the literal foundation of Tetris Attack. Every aspect that hasn't been recontextualized through the lens of Yoshi and Friends has been lifted one-to-one from Panel de Pon, which might sound bad on the surface, I get that, but it very evidently is not, as it is in service of the same great game you would have been playing with or without these stylistic differences. These characters and critters from the broader Mario series are familiar to most of us, but it's this particular rendition of that world that comes across as dreamlike, at least by my estimation. Not even just because it's pretty much the only title to use this particular style, but as well because of the multitude of game modes on offer that seek to accommodate the player's whim, with even the prototypical Endless mode doing well to further immerse said player into the game's vibe and general aesthetic. The soundtrack, the soundtrack's hypnotic nature, it really does feel hypnotic, I swear, sucks you right into the cozy atmosphere without even really trying. And as one may assume from its inherent mechanical draw as an old-school puzzle game, that synthesis of style and substance come together so smoothly that it really does form an addicting habit out of its play pretty quickly. Absolutely akin to something like the original Tetris, or even more modern puzzlers of this Match 3 variety. Controlling Tetris Attack is intuitive, extremely intuitive, with the only real committal actions available being moving your cursor and flipping the blocks. You can also make use of the triggers to speed up the board's lateral movement and get to some of the unseen blocks a bit more quickly. It is quaint, but it is also kind of ingenious. Across each game mode, these controls remain identical. Once you get good at one, you should be able to switch over to another rather seamlessly, with the only major difference being the redo and reset functions for the puzzle mode allotted to the face buttons opposite of the flip ones. And while there's no real story of great consequence to speak of, the Versus mode and much of the in-game text does prescribe an all-too-familiar plot to the happenings of Tetris Attack. Who could have guessed it? King Bowser has used some kind of nebulous magic to make Yoshi's friends go mad, and now the player, Yoshi, have to best them in competition to stave off a massive flood. A little biblical there, I guess. It's very simple, ostensibly childish, and honestly more than you could reasonably ask for from a game like this. At least I think so. I mean, how many Match 3 puzzle games have any story at all? And so, while this spiely little video is short and is mostly me just glazing this game, all in all, the game really does speak, maybe sing, for itself. I think if anything you've seen, or that I've talked about, looks or sounds appealing to any degree, you should just play it. I mean, it's good. It's exceedingly good. especially for what it is. I think a lot of people write off these sorts of games just because they assume, oh, that's not really for me. I kind of did the same, but I don't think I would have given many other puzzle games a shot, an earnest try, if it wasn't for this one getting me so enticed and into the genre.